Good afternoon and welcome to the Polity, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. I am Messi Babadide, and of course, you know, on Fridays we give you week in review and tell you every and anything that has happened in the society and of course on the Polity over the week, and we just brief you and bring on guests to analyze. And with me today in the studio is Abdulaziz Abubakar Kaka, that's Chairman APC Youth Stakeholders Forum, is not a new face to the studio, and to my right we have Mr. Insikak Fineface, a political analyst. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have both of you. All right, viewers, before we get into the nitty-gritty of today, we'll start with civil society organizations under the auspices of Vote Must Count. International Initiative has cautioned the spokesperson of All Progressives Congress APC following the petition by the Minister of State for Labor and Employment requesting Department of State Services to arrest the presidential candidate of Labour Party Peter Obi and his vice Baba Dati Ahmed. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the country director of the group, Barry Avotu Johnson, said that the May 29 swearing-in ceremony could not be visible if the current court case and hate speech is not addressed. They also directed the Nigeria Bar Association to caution their members, stating that any politician inciting violence will not be tolerated. They, however, vow to continue to occupy all democratic institutions in Abuja until their voice are heard. Let's take a look at the report.
If Buhari is interested in promoting good governance and quality leadership in Nigeria, he should ask Festus Keyamo to apologize to Nigerians for disrespecting our democratic values or resign as minister. We shall continue to occupy all democratic institutions in Nigeria, in Abuja, until the mandate given by Nigerians is restored to the right president-elect. We have been threatened and treated as outcasts in our own nation by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and aided by President Muhammadu Buhari and the leadership of the APC against the will and choice of Nigerians who voted on election day. So therefore, we call on the ECOWAS, United Nations, African Union, and the European Union to wade into correcting the electoral fraud committed by this administration. President Buhari, sir, as the father of the nation, we call on you and your APC to retrace your steps to redeem our broken democracy so that the peace and unity Nigeria needs to jumpstart the reformation of a responsive political stability can birth a world-class economy that the African continent, that will build a continent of our dreams.
If the likes of Festus Keyamo, SAN, Femi Fani-Kayode, Bayo Onanuga, and Dele Alaki, their continuous incendiary statements, divisive statements, will do nothing to the Nigerian country apart from adding fuel to the crisis we already have at hand. They should refrain from using statements. We are sending a note of one. He does not have the monopoly of violence. He does not have the monopoly of using invectives on our revered presidential candidates. He does not have the authority to summon them for an arrest. And we are also passing a message to the DSS. The DSS is supposed to be an institution for all Nigerians and not an institution secluded only for the APC.
I have read carefully, studied carefully, the petition that was submitted by Atiku Abubakar. Please, I advise everybody to go through that petition. This is the first time in history that I'm seeing about 4 presidential aspirants writing petition against one. Let's study them and see that they are all saying the same thing. This election is flawed by the same INEC. The laws they set, the guidelines, they did what? They bypassed their guidelines and did what they're not supposed to do. We are saying today as Nigerians, we will not back down until the right thing is done.
The good people of Nigeria, as we speak to you today, we're calling upon you not to lay low and watch evil to be perpetrated upon you or the generations unborn. This is our chance to salvage our country. And we must move forward to demand our rights, to demand what is just, to demand the truth, for we are accountable for.
Welcome back, and now to our guest in the studio. I'd like to throw to Mr. Abdulaziz first. To my question, and over the inciting comment, what is your take on this man coming out to say there should be an arrest of the Labour Party presidential candidate because of his comments?
Yeah, I know okay, thank you for having me once again.
You're welcome.
I know what FFK is trying to do is to call for calm. But you know, everyone has a method of approach. What he's saying is, since we have a system and there are processes, and INEC has conducted the elections, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president-elect, has been issued a certificate that nothing should stop him from being sworn in on 29th of May 2023, because we the process is concluded. Now the next phase is, if you don't like what's on ground, you go to court. You know, not to incite people to come and stop a process that that is just about to begin. Let me put it
But
like
actually, in him saying, in its inciting comments, he made mention of the president-elect not winning 25% in FCT.
Yeah, you know, lawyers have bills to pay. So
This is not about lawyers having bills to pay. Let's take it down to the Electoral Act as amended. You must have 25% in 25 states, two-thirds of the states in Nigeria, where we have 37 states. I've included the FCT, of course.
No, that's not how it's been called.
It's 36 states, including F and FCT. Okay, so now FCT, only one candidate at 25% in FCT, and he's not the one that's been sworn in as the president-elect right now. Is that not actually going against the Electoral Act as amended?
It depends on how you interpret it. Okay. First, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the highest number of vote cards among the three candidates. Yes. He has the highest number of spread ads, 25% in about 30 states now. Okay. And when people interpret it to be in 24% in 25 states and the FCT, it means you are giving electorates in Abuja more, should I say right, you're giving them more power over an electorate in Kogi or Kaduna or any other state. And in the constitution, it stated that every Nigerian has equal rights. So there is no way you tell me that you must have 25% in Abuja. That will make Abuja electorates more important than any other Nigerian. I don't know if I'm making any sense. This is the same constitution we're making. The interpretation is 30 in 24 states and 25 states and the FCT. Normally, FCT is treated as a state in the constitution. FCT can be treated as a state, and then when you say states and capital, or when you listen states, you'll be like, okay, and Abuja, and FCT Abuja.
And FCT Abuja, yes.
We always put that and not because FCT stands out, but because when you just sit at 7 states, Abuja people can come and say, so why are we not among the states we are listing? And if you say a candidate must win 25% in Abuja, so does that mean that when a candidate wins in all 36 states, but he doesn't have 25% in Abuja, you're not going to swear him in?
What's your take on what you just said now?
I think we're actually overflogging the issue. You spoke about the Electoral Act. Yes. So go there and confirm what it says. If the Electoral Act states that you should have 25% in the FCT, that's it. That's it. That's why it was signed into law. It's like me telling Mr. Abdulaziz, I'm going to give you 2 million naira tomorrow. But it's on the condition that you have to come with mercy. And then tomorrow he shows up without mercy. What do you expect? I won't give him the 2 million naira. So it's as simple as that. So what does the law say about the FCT? It doesn't mean the people of the FCT are more important or whatever. It's the law has to be the law. So if the law states that for you to be declared winner, you must have 25% in the FCT. It's as I think it's I just feel like, okay, why do we now why was the Electoral Act signed into law if we are not going to follow exactly what we have? Why is it that sometimes we pay attention to the Constitution? Because it's what the law says. So if the law says 25%, I think it's necessary, we look into it. But when people are now trying to play around it and make it look like,
let me come in. This 25% we're talking about, senior sons have come out to say, look, like I just said, it goes down to interpretation. Well, how you want to interpret that line, because for INEC, Electoral Act is something that guides INEC, right? So then for INEC to now come out and still issue that certificate there, it means that it's not what people think.
If it's not what people think, then why are people in court right now?
That's what I'm telling you. People have bills to pay. SAN, let me give you from my Baba files.
Okay. Falano.
Yes. Falano was in channels, I think, in January.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe he had that feeling that something like this will come up. He made it clear that, look, this and that is there is just a conjunction. It doesn't mean it's a must. So states and capital, you have to just list them. You understand?
No, but
so it's
for it to make its way into the Electoral Act, it means it's a must.
There is nowhere in either the Electoral Act or in the Constitution that it's written 37 states. You see, 36. That's what I'm saying. So in
that means the FCT is standing on its own, because if it's not together with the 36 states.
Yeah, if you're anywhere that you're mentioning Abuja or states, you say 36 states and FCT, even when we're in primary school, the states and capital, So that and is just there to differentiate Abuja as federal capital territory, but as in Constitution also, it states that Abuja should be treated as a state. So why we are all doing this is because of the interpretation. People want to interpret it to suit whatever narrative they want. So now it's in the court, and we cannot be more learned than senior advocates of Nigeria, and most of them have come out to say this and it's not trying to make it compulsory.
But some of the senior advocates also came out to say, look, it's mandatory that you must have 25%.
The beauty of should I say not democracy? The beauty of the whole system now is in the courts. So Supreme Court now would big judgment on this. Me, from my own observation, from my interpretation, from the knowledge I have, it's not a compulsory. But since we're in the courts now, we're just waiting for them to make to sit down, and then they argue it. Then that way we will now learn more of our own constitution, and then so it's not a big deal actually. It's even good for it to happen this way, so that next time now we'll know. Maybe I will now go and move my voter's card to Abuja to go and now start claiming I'm more Nigerian than any other Nigerian.
No, but the people of Abuja are not feeling that.
They're not feeling that.
But like I'm telling you, if they should make it now compulsory.
But it's already compulsory for it to make its way into the Electoral Act.
Yeah, interpreting it as compulsory. Me at the likes of Femi Falala, I said no, it's not compulsory. So you are saying it's compulsory, and likes of the other sides that also against the issuance of this issue.
Okay, speaking of judiciary, sorry to cut you short. Do you have faith in Nigerian judiciary right now?
To an extent, yes. Okay,
to an extent. So let's take it back. Now there's no cash scarcity or any cash drama going on. But earlier in the year, Supreme Court came out to actually say, let the 1,000 naira, 200 naira, 500 naira become a legal tender. But then the presidency came out to himself to say, I only endorse 200 naira as the money that should be pushed out, and that was what was followed. So right now in the in Nigeria, do you think even if the Supreme Court or tribunal comes out to say, oh yes, this is not supposed to be, this is who wins, or if they peradventure say it is not your candidate that is supposed to actually win, do you actually think that is what would follow through right now?
It depends on how patriotic someone is.
Okay.
If we have only Nigeria as a country, wherever passport you have, Nigeria is your motherland. We have Nigeria, we have the constitution. We can be aggrieved. It's normal, but we have to respect the rule of law.
Okay.
So today, if we say we don't agree in this judicial system, then there's no point going to the courts. So if you don't agree in what the outcome will be, then why are you there? I don't know if I'm making any sense. So whatever the outcome is, I told you, I'm an APC person. If today the Supreme Court says, okay, this thing is scrapped out, we'll have to conduct fresh election, we'll do it. It's normal, because we believe even if it doesn't favor you, we've lost many court cases. I'm an APC person. We lost Zamfara. We lost Bielsa to Supreme Court, and we can't challenge. We will not come out and say, no, this is, even if you do it, you're just being not serious, because this is the Constitution, and I'm a Nigerian, so wherever it is, Constitution is first before any other thing. So we would have to respect wherever it comes out. Then if, like you said, you made mention of the general scarcity. Today, the CBN and the presidency have respected the court ruling, because that's why he's making it compulsory for even banks to open on Saturdays and Sundays to disburse this cash. So to an extent, we must respect the judiciary, because it's an arm on its own. There's legislative, there's the executive, and then it's independent. It's quite independent, because, like I said, some of the judgment goes against the executive, so which will even make it harder for anyone to tell me that the executive controls in the judiciary.
Okay, now over to you, Mr. Ntikek. I'll just ask you a direct, straight question, and I'm sure you probably heard that question over and over again. Do you think the last election was free and fair? I'm going to point out to the presidential election. Okay,
I wouldn't say it wasn't free and fair. I wouldn't say it was free and fair, but look at it this way. We had issues of irregularities in Lagos State, for instance, where people were threatening Nigerians and saying, if you're not going to vote our party, go home. If you're not going to do this, you do this. We saw a woman that was attacked, and then she still went back to vote. We saw people that were even killed. So it's up to you to think, what is an election? It's a platform where you get to elect leaders that would move the country forward. What's democracy? Government for the people, by the people, and you know. So if and then the 2023 elections, I stated here before, I think it was one of the most important time in the history of our nation, because Nigerians were tired of the failures of the APC, bad insecurity, lack of health care, education. Our educational system is in shambles. Imagine us being on strike for 8 months. So students were even angry. Nigerians were agitated. You can't travel from Abuja to Kaduna by road, and then you'll be praying all through the trip. So Nigerians came out to say, look, we are tired. You promised 5 refineries. We didn't see not even half. You promised there'll be jobs for the youths. There was no job as well. So we have youths just loitering everywhere. So youths came out to say, okay, we're going to take our country back by coming out to register. I remember the process, getting your PVC and all that, and then people came out to vote en masse. And then we started seeing issues of people threatening people, some people making it look like they were more Nigerian than some. We even have people thinking that this is not your state, you can't come out to vote. See, I want to see a Nigeria where I can call my brother here and say, look, I want to come to your state, and I go there and I feel like I'm in my state. You understand? I don't want Nigerians running away from Nigeria to another country. I want to say, okay, if I'm going to relocate, I'll relocate from Cross River State to Jigawa State, because there are better opportunities there. So the elections, to you, look at the things that played out. People threatening people, saying, if you're not going to vote my candidates, go away. There were videos circulating everywhere. People, you know, and all that. So if you look at these things, put them side by side. Is this what you call a free and fair election? So it's for Nigerians to decide, was it actually free and fair? And speaking of deciding, I'd like you, in your response, how do you defend your party? Because of you, obviously, you're an APC member. So the election, not just in Lagos State, we've seen where there was pure electoral violence, but Lagos State was laid emphasis on, because they actually came out to say, if you're not of certain tribe, or if you're not voting for APC, please do not come to certain polling units. How do you defend your party?
Wiki, first, I don't support electoral violence, because it's not something that we should, anyone should support, anyone in residences. But you keep calling Lagos. You forget about what happened in the southeast. We also saw videos of people that were being told, in fact,
there was just one video. There was just one video. I wish I'd sent the video to. There was just one video of them chanting. Even though I do not support electoral violence, but one cannot be compared to thousands. And I mean, it spilled over from even the presidential election to the gubernatorial elections, and then there was the tribal card, the ethnic card came to play in that part.
I'm coming to that side too. So what I'm saying is, it's not only peculiar to Lagos, and in fact all these incidences that happened across polling units in Lagos, it's less than 10% of the total polling units in Lagos. So if we're talking about electoral violence, I'm not in support of it, but you cannot say because it's happened in less than 10% of the total polling units of a state, then that means the whole process is carried over by violence. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's statistics. So if the 90% is not as bad as the 10% that you're making, then it's just one. So we can time it not violent.
It can't be timed non-violent. Violence is violence.
Yeah, no, I'm saying with the number. This is not the first time. This is the first time more Nigerians are interested in the elections.
Yeah,
involved rather. But 2019, in fact, there are in 2007 during Morris, till today we don't have some states, what do you call them, results because of how bad it was then. But we're getting better. In 2019 we had states that recorded about 2 million votes, but this time around I find it difficult to record almost 1 million votes. Why? Because of the beavers that came in for accreditation. So when we're talking about the other sides of the election, we should also talk about the positives. This beavers accreditation, even my thumbprint couldn't do. It had to be captured with the machine, so it was facial. So there are no good boosters in this election. So this is something that we have to give to.
But it actually looks more like the negative outweigh the positive for this particular election.
I just give you. If you sum up, I use Lagos because that's where people
Lagos,
talk about.
we had issues in River State. In fact, we still have a video of someone. They even knew the person that actually snatched their ballot box. They were calling him exactly.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is it happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but we have over 174,000 polling units in Nigeria. So if it should happen in 40,000 polling units, the place that didn't happen is more. So we have to give it. We are not there yet, but we get there. So, but it's better than 2019's election. That's one. And then the accreditation that I was talking about, it's a game changer because in 2019, Borno State gave President Muhammadu Buhari, I think 1.7 million or so, because the votes were overwhelming. But in 2023 now, I think the summation is not even up to 1 million for APC and both the PDP. Why? Because of that accreditation that came. The IREV portal actually, on the other hand, didn't do what it's expected to do. Because it was expected that after the after coalition of results, going to snap and then upload to transmit. So that's where I will fault INEC, because although they said the server was attacked, the experience. Lots of server attacks.
So that means APC still failed to give us a good independent national election. Whether we like it or not, APC was involved in the process.
No.
They were still involved in the process of picking the chairman.
What I want to tell you is we were not involved in picking him. He was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yeah, then the president now came and
reappointed him.
He could have decided to go for someone else.
There was Jaga.
Then it would have been APC has not employed somebody that will work for them. You see, INEC is independent electoral commission. So whether we like it or not, Professor Mahmoud was appointed by a PDP person. Then after the election, his tenure expired, and then the president now renewed him for him. So you cannot say he's somebody that was just appointed by APC. So you can say he's maybe appointed by APC and PDP because he served in both terms. You understand? But it's to an extent INEC is independent. It's independent because Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu couldn't win Lagos. President Buhari couldn't win Katsina State. Do you know what that means? In Nigeria, for a sitting president to lose his state and then people now come and say the election was rigged, that's a slap on his face for him to lose his state. But it's the beauty of democracy. If the majority say they are not for you, then it's fine. If you sum up PDP and LP's total number of votes, you see it's more than ours. But the beauty of democracy is we just need simple majority. I told you when I was there before that even if we conduct this election 100 times, if this guy is a game, if these guys don't put their heads together, they're not going to beat us in any way, because we always have the simple majority. And why? Is because in states that we don't come first, we come second. In states that we don't come second, we come first. Not like the other parties. We have a spread. No party we have 30 states. We have 25% in 30 states, I think Atiku is the closest with 23 states
23
also.
states, yes.
Then Peter Obi is about 17 states. So
okay, all right. Before we get
into
deep into that, let's quickly take the next story of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman of the Presidential Transition Council, Boss Mustafa, has stated that the Inauguration Committee is responsible for organizing the swearing-in, the inaugural parade, and other logistics necessary for the successful inauguration ceremony. Well, Boss Mustafa disclosed this in Abuja, and on the activities Presidential Transition Council, he noted that the committee will compile all policy, programs, and projects of this administration in the form of a compendium that focuses on the government's 9 priority areas. Mustafa reiterated that the DG of the committee is to organize necessary facilities for the inauguration. Let's take a look at the report too.
Post-inauguration luncheon committee, accommodation, and Children's Day celebration subcommittee. The President-elect has also been requested to nominate 13 persons that will work across the 13 subcommittees. The subcommittees have been working around the clock to ensure that all preparations are in place for a smooth inauguration ceremony. After the swearing-in, it has always been accommodated. This is not the first time we have run elections. This is not the first time people have assumed offices, and litigations continue. So the elections, this is not the first time people have assumed offices, and litigations continue. So the matters before the election tribunal.
And now to the federal government on Tuesday gave the assurance that the transition of power from President Muhammadu Buhari to the President-elect Bola Tinubu would be smooth and peaceful. This was as the government said the refurbishment of offices for the President and Vice President-elect had been completed. While addressing journalists in Abuja on Tuesday, the chairman of the Transition Committee, Boss Mustafa, stressed that litigation would not stop the handover ceremony from taking place. And now to the next story. The Labour Party on Tuesday announced that the cost of nomination and expression of interest forms for its governorship aspirants interested in contesting the off-season elections in Bayelsa, Kogi and Imo states has been pegged at 15 million naira. The cost of the forms, which was formerly pledged at 25 million naira, was slashed to 15 million naira to allow for more participation. The party national chairman Julius Abure revealed this while addressing journalists shortly after the political roundtable closed-door meeting between the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, the Labour Party senators, and the House of Representative members-elect in Abuja. Abure stated that both Obi and the party's National Working Committee were impressed with the quality, willingness to address issues and composition of the new lawmakers-elect. And of course, with me still in the studio is Mr. Abdulaziz and of course Mr. Intikak. I would like to throw the question to you. Your form was sold at about 100 million naira, if I'm correct. Now comparing this for presidential election, and governorship was about 15 million. 50 million. Yeah. Now comparing that to 15 million naira of Labour Party, don't you think this is actually an edge they have over you guys?
Let me compare with 25 million first.
Okay.
How much was Labour Party's gubernatorial ticket forms in 2019? It should be maybe around 5 million or so. So when you're popular, it's normal. You need money to run party. Okay. But Labour Party wasn't as popular as it is now. It's an old party because I think they had a governor in 1999.
Those states, yes.
But the momentum went low. Okay. But now they are more popular now, and then you need money for logistics and what have you. So you pack your tickets. Let's see, not to be so expensive, but you put them in a way that when people buy, you have money to handle logistics. So that's where when obedience was out, they give shishi. It was at the first, but not at the beginning. But they understand that you need money in politics for logistics. Okay,
I'm going to take from your book. He said, we know they spend shishi, or we know they collect shishi. So now I'm going to throw it back to you. If you're supporting Labour Party and you say you're not collecting shishi in their terms, how then do you fund the party if you're not supposed to collect money?
I think the shishi they were talking about wasn't about funding the party. There was this what do I call it, idea that the PDP and the APC, when they go for rally and campaigns, they usually pay some people to come out for their campaigns. In fact, it was alleged that they even pay us sometimes as low as 500 naira, and then they'll give you t-shirts. So the Labour Party were simply saying, look, we are not going to pay people to hire crowd to come and maybe come for our campaigns or protest and all that. So that's where that word.
But even in hiring crowds, they still won the election. So do you think if you guys had hired crowds, or if Labour Party,
I'm not a member of the Labour Party,
if Labour Party had hired crowds, do you think they would have won the said election?
I don't think it's about hiring crowd. But then, if you look at elections in Nigeria. Some, especially some of the parties, they make it look like the higher crowd you have in your campaign grounds means that you're leading. But I think it goes beyond that. You can actually hire the whole crowd and then you still go out there and fail successfully. That's politics. But the issue about not giving shishi has to do with, you know, trying to entice people with some financial gains and all that so they can come out for your rally. But then I want to commend Labour Party because they're actually blazing the trail now. If you look at politics in Nigeria, there are certain people that are well qualified to contest elections, but they do not have the funds. I know of someone growing up that had to sell his father's house to pick the nomination form, and then contested and failed. And then he almost died out of high blood pressure, you know. So there's a whole lot of qualified Nigerians out there that cannot contest, not because they are not intelligent, not because they cannot deliver, but the financial issue. So now they said their gubernatorial form in Imo State was for 25 million, and Nigerians came out to say, look, if you say you want to change how things are done between the PDP and the APC, you can't sell your form for 25 million. Last election, like my brother said, the APC presidential form was 100 million, and they sold to about 15 people. Calculate that. And I kept on wondering, where are these men getting these monies from? How can I just come out and bring 100 million and say I want to get the form? It means I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There may be more qualified Nigerians in the APC that would have wanted to contest the election, but how do I get 100 million? You know, so but bringing it down from, I still feel 15 million is even much. Just like he said, nobody knew of the Labour Party maybe 5-6 years ago. So do you think if the Labour Party gets more momentum, or if they actually come out more in the spotlight, let's say if Peter Obi had won the elections, do you think there would have been an increase in price for the sale of farms? I don't think so, because now Nigerians are questioning them. It's not about winning or whatever. They said 25. Nigerians said, no, you can't do that. You can't say you're trying to change the way things are done, and then you're trying to consider Nigerians, and then you're saying they brought it to 15. I still feel the form should even go for 10 million or 5 million.
Even at 10 million naira, we still have Nigerians that cannot afford it.
Of course, it's much.
But then how do you even manage the logistics of the party if you are not going to make money from the sales of form?
I think it's a process. Before now, they had no senator, they had no one in the House of Reps and all that. But now they have about 6 senators. They have about 34 members of the House of Representatives, about 68 of the House of Assemblies around the nation. So it means that some people are going to pay dues. Some people are going to support the party. It's a process. PDP wasn't built in a day. At the time, they said it was the most well-structured political party in Africa. It wasn't, but it's a process. Look at the APC today. They sold their forms for 100 million and they had 15 people. But if they tried that in 2015, I can assure you that not even 5 people would come out to pick their form. So it's a process. The more people get to trust you, the more they'll now subscribe. But I think for us to be able to get it politically in our nation, for us to be able to elect credible leaders, I think you should look into the amount of sales of form. You can't sell your form at 50 million. And then think someone who is just a lecturer in the university would want to come in and contest. So you could have Nigerians with good intentions for the nation, intellectually sound, and Nigerians that are doing very well, who would want to occupy certain positions. But because I can't imagine myself bringing out 50 million to say I want to purchase a form to be governor. How? I know there's a mentality that, okay, once he wins the election, he becomes governor, he will be able to make his money back. But that's not the country we want. We want a nation where people are accountable. Don't go in there because you have nothing to offer and you just feel, okay, I want to repay myself. No, we want a nation where people are sincere and transparent. But one of the ways of ensuring that there's transparency in our nation is by bringing down the prices of your nomination form.
What's your take on that? Bringing down the price of nomination form if we want a better Nigeria?
You see, it just depends on the platform. Like I told you.
So the bigger the platform, the higher the price.
There are platforms that would have said they're give out tickets for free. I think we gave out we gave out tickets for free.
I think it was for women.
For women,
for women.
you know, and so and then it just depends on the platform. If you feel you want to contest, and then this is what we need money in politics for logistics. It's not rocket science. We need money because the bigger your party, the bigger your logistics, the bigger your logistics problem. So if LP with, let's say, just maybe one reps or a few House of Assembly members in 2019.
Yes.
Today now they have about almost 38, legislators. So they are expanding, and then they need to be serviced from the local government, state, and you don't expect the elected people that were elected to go and work for their constituents to now start bringing money to fund the party. So party has to stand on its own so that there will not be one influence over the other. So if you just feel APC is too expensive, Labour Party is too expensive.
But I kind of differ, because if you look at the PDP, for instance, after 2015, they were broke. It was said that a certain Nyesom Wike was the one funding the party.
Yeah.
So how do you explain this? They sold their forms.
That's why
they've been in power for 16 years, and then they still became broke. So I don't think it's about the size of the party.
No, PDP is there is what we call in Hausa Chimuchi. PDP is just about embezzlement. So
if you're saying PDP is for embezzlement,
how about your party?
APC
I can list about 10 major present issues that are ongoing in your party that they are yet to give account of in terms of embezzling funds.
Look, I'm just telling you. So PDP when they were in power, they got their money, and then immediately after, people that couldn't complete their secretariat for about 16 years. It's there in central area. 16 years, they did fundraiser, they raised all the money for it. Actually, about 8 billion, I think, or 4 billion. They got 8 billion.
Okay, if you're speaking of PDP now, let's move on to APC. For the past 8 years, the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, in 7 years, he was able to complete lots of infrastructures, but not in security. So if you are going to lay emphasis on PDP, now, faulting the present administration, and of course, they've come out to say, oh, this is something we would do, or you've seen him signing a lot of things into bill right now. And why did he have to wait this long to sign certain things into law? Is it like he waited for 7 years? Is this our parting gift as Nigerians? Why did it take this long?
Like I said, there are processes. These bills were sent by members, and they pass one, I think, first, second, and third reading before it's now sent to the executive, and then president will now append to it. It's a good thing that he's signing it. It's not too late. That's the beauty of it.
But it's late. It's not too late, but it's late.
It's not even late. And then about this insecurity you made mention of. Okay. If I'm going to rate our our performance in security, I'll peg it at 50 over 100. Why? Because International Terrorism Index in 2015, Nigeria was I think the third most dangerous country because of the fatalities from Boko Haram, what have you, all this terrorism, and then but today we are about 8. So there's an improvement from third to like 8.
Who gathered those analysis? Because what is your take on that analysis?
No,
from 3rd to 8th, is that visible given the Nigeria we're in?
I think it's more like someone is just dreaming, because if you look at the nation today compared to 2015, I remember when the president...
We only had one case then, and that was the Boko Haram Chibok girl.
Now we have bandits.
It's not me that is issuing out this fact. It's International Terrorism Index.
But then you can checkmate them. You can correct them.
When I'm telling you, they gave out numbers also.
Okay.
People that Boko Haram killed. Boko Haram was actually the main.
That was only.
That was
yes.
No, it was the main actually. It wasn't the way, but it was the main dangerous group, and they were killing people in hundreds daily. We're not talking about kidnapping them. They were killing them because they had this. I think it's either us. It's either you are for us or against us. So they were killing people in their thousands. I'm from. My origin is Borno State, so I know what we went through in the northeast. So then. In fact, we even had 16 local governments under their control then. But today, alhamdulillah, we don't have any that is under their control. So we're not there yet. But it has.
You don't have any local governments under the control of
Boko Haram,
or bandits or Boko Haram.
We don't
As of
have.
now?
We don't have. They
really?
Hoisted, yeah, we don't. They don't. They hoisted their flags. What they are doing now is guerrilla. If you're familiar with military terms, they are doing guerrilla warfare. You come out, you attack, then you go out and hide. So even this banditry that we're talking about, these are people that come out. They are maybe with people, and then they go back to the bush. Main people then come when they deposit, and then they come back and mingle among us. So that's why it's harder to tackle these things. They are not saying, okay, these are our territory, come and fight us. But Buhari has equipped our armed forces. Today he bought from 2016 to now, we've bought over 70 helicopters that are fighting these people. Talk about the Apaches, the Tucanos, you know. We're even talking about now that military are going to do air wing of the military is going to be revived because we are buying helicopters for them. So we've even equipped our air force to the extent that the military now wants to now revive their air wing. So these are things that you have to give credit to, but we're not there yet. Like I said, we tried to equip, and then by His grace, when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes on board, we have plans to tackle this insecurity from to do forest rangers. We're going to have forest rangers that will be in these forest guards that we talk to tackle all these people. We're going to invest in intelligence, more intelligence system, because when there is intelligence, you predict what will happen and then you tackle it before it even happens. We're going to equip them more. We're going to employ more people too, and then talking about restructuring, we want to start community policing too and state policing. So these are things that would make sure that we go far from where we are now to where we're heading, and the foundation has already been laid, like I said. So inshallah we're going to achieve more, and in the coming days, or should I say, let me not say in the coming months, things will be better.
Okay, I'd like to hear your opinion.
I think my brother is just it looks more like he's just dreaming, because in 2015 the present president, being a retired army general, said, look, I'm going to wipe out insecurity. And Nigerians were excited because Nigerians felt like the previous administrations were not doing much in terms of insecurity. And he came and said, we're going to move all our manpower to Maiduguri, we'll operate from there. But from that moment till now, we've not seen anything. And then the thing is, the president-elect was actually a part of this APC process that said, look, we're going to deliver in terms of insecurity. We're going to ensure. In 2015, I can remind you, you could actually travel from here to Kaduna and come back.
In 2015, but today, bombs were exploding.
I know, but today, can you enter a bus now and travel from Abuja to Kaduna
I'm
now?
going to Kaduna after this.
And I'm not talking about driving. Can you enter a bus now?
Yes, no.
We hear issues of kidnappings
the thing is,
every week.
Yeah.
So I think for us to be fair to the nation, we should be sincere to ourselves in terms of insecurity. The president gave so much promises, but we've not seen 10% of it.
That's expectations. I don't know. I want you to understand.
No, it's not by expectation. Because he spoke based on his antecedents as a former military.
Yes, he says he's going to crush. And then I'm telling you how far he's gone now. And then the issues, the challenges. Because I told you, guerrilla warfare, it's not easy fighting an enemy you don't know. When you're fighting maybe this country with another country, they are uniforms and what have you. But these people are people that are within you. They are in your communities.
So are you trying to say the first citizen of a country is unaware of who is actually terrorizing this country?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I just give you where we're from and then where we're heading to, and then where we are at the moment. These are facts. This is not something I'm coming up with. But in 2015, bombs were exploding in Abuja. In Abuja, federal capital,
we had the same Boko Haram people come into Abuja, Kuje prison jailbreak. So what are you talking about bombs in Abuja?
That's one scenario in 8 years. That's what I want you to understand.
There's a whole lot of scenario.
Then
it may not be Abuja.
Then it was a daily occurrence, and then
it wasn't daily.
No, it was daily.
It wasn't daily. No.
Kaduna, they're talking about. I reside in Kaduna, so I understand the issue people are raising, because even me sometimes I get scared because you're traveling, you don't know, uncertainty. Maybe this thing might happen or this might not happen. At some point we don't travel if it's maybe after 2 p.m. But today I travel at any time.
You travel at any time.
Anytime.
So you're doing Kaduna, Abuja to Kaduna right now.
Yes, after the program.
Like a normal public transport.
You know why? Because there are maybe you not followed the road recently. That's why there are military outposts. So it has reduced drastically. In fact, since from the train incident, the incidents has reduced drastically.
No, we've had issues, a lot of issues after that train incident.
It has reduced. Then it was like a daily, not even what's like a daily, maybe once in the morning, once in the afternoon. So it was normal.
But what Mr. President promised was that we're going to wipe them off. So it wasn't even about daily. Or he said on that note,
that's why I said I was not going to say we've tackled insecurity, because that would have been an outright lie.
But that was a promise to Nigerians, and I think Nigerians voted for your party because of that. Because if there's insecurity in the nation, you can't make progress.
Nigerians have realized the efforts we've made, and that's why they.
No, Nigerians weren't worried about efforts. They wanted action. No, like you said, you're going to take them off.
That was a promise, and then now we're giving us another mandate. So for them to do that,
they've given you another mandate.
Yeah, it means yes. It just voted us into next from 2023 to 20. Should I say 2027 or 2031?
No, you still have just 4 years for now.
It depends on how we perform. But
all I think is that we need to be sincere, because we've lost lives. Nigerians, I mean, look at the train incident you talked about. It was just 1 year, few days back. Certain people were killed, some people were in captivity and all that. If you want to put all this together, even the train is not functioning effectively as at now, because certain things have not been put in place. Nigerians can't travel. For instance, you can't tell me to travel by road
to east. I understand.
From here to Lagos, or from here to the east, or from even Abuja to Kaduna. I can't try that.
I understand.
I had a friend that was kidnapped from Abuja to Jos.
I have relatives too that were kidnapped.
Of course. So
I just told you we're not.
What I'm saying is,
it's not yet
the promises were made, and then in 8 years we've not seen it happen. So Nigerians are worried.
But there are improvements.
In what area?
I just gave you an instance. Now we have over 70 Apache helicopters that are using.
We've always had helicopters from 2015.
No. Nobody has equipped our military. Non-government, in fact, I don't think, maybe I was not around during the likes of Shaga this time, but no government has equipped our military like the way this present government is a fact. We deal with America direct.
Okay, so you buy helicopters for them, and then you see them.
That's why there's
you see them complain every day about their welfare. They are not.
When last did you read about that? When last did you read about that? There are improvements. These were things that at first people were talking about, but with time, look, the present sets of military heads, should I say,
service chiefs,
you know, they are doing well. In fact, all these appointments, these are appointments based on merit. If you look at in Irabo, recently, the day before yesterday also, they gave out some I think tactical heads and what have you. These are people that have the experience before.
So are you saying the former people didn't have the experience?
They did well. Then this one is now going from where they were from how far.
Well, look, all I'm worried about is this: Nigerians. Look, if there's insecurity, we cannot progress, we cannot grow, we can't create jobs. Investors won't even come in. So, if your party is unable to wipe it off, it's affecting our nation, because we can't have real investors coming to invest.
We will tame it to an extent. Look, today in America, this is the Senate claim that we talk about. From January to now, they had about 149 mass shootings. 149. These are people that will just take gun, enter school and shoot people. But people don't speak about it because they have been positive. They have been optimistic. They're trying to I'm not saying conceal, but they're trying to know that, okay, once there are guns with people, definitely all these cases will be happening. So what we do is to rate this party based on where we're from, and then where we're heading to, and then how far we've gone.
Okay, but your party didn't understand this when they were criticizing the previous administration, because most of the critics came from the area of insecurity. Like, they felt like the president then wasn't doing much, and then Nigerians were being killed, and then nothing was done. But you came
that was 8 years ago.
So but you made a promise that you're going to wipe off insecurity.
And we've done well. We've done well, but we're not there yet. I'm not going to score us A in insecurity.
So what would you score E?
What would you score the present administration as regards insecurity?
I would say E. Because I just told you.
And so are you guys trying to tell us now that if you scored E for the first term, that's the first 7 years, and then Nigerians have signed you in again to be the next president of the country, I'm coming, I'm not done. Okay. Then you become the next president of the country. What is the assurance that we're expecting better from you now as regards insecurity in the country?
God willing, with what is on our president-elect's what do you call it? Manifesto. With the plan on ground, with the foundation laid already, we're going to have nothing less than be by God's
If you're
grace.
talking about manifesto and plan on ground, the present administration equally had plans. And he even mentioned few of the plans.
He said we spoke from point of opposition then, but today we are in government. So
okay, so how about 2019? You were not speaking from point of opposition.
So there are improvements from 2019 till now. What I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You are. You're making sense.
The issue is this is what we're facing. We're facing cases of thousands displaced, you know, cases of local governments under these people. But now we're not there yet. But to an extent, we've passed that stage.
Well, I just feel like your party, they were quick to criticize the PDP without having a proper understanding of what it entails. That's the same issue you're facing now when it comes to fuel subsidy. You criticized it in 2012. You occupied Nigeria, and then you're in and you say we want to take off subsidy.
So that's what I'm telling you.
So I think it's a lesson for Nigerians. It's a lesson do not criticize what you don't understand.
Even us now, when we speak now, we speak from point of knowledge, because we understand these things, we face them, and we know, okay, we underrated this thing, but this is not as it is. So now, but this is the fact now. So, and that's the beauty of it. So, okay, this is the fact.
So but your party, they are yet to acknowledge that they made a mistake.
No, they have.
No, they've not.
It depends on who you're talking
to. No, they've not.
No, they have. It's obvious. We underrated certain issues.
So if you've underrated certain issues, now what's the assurance that the next administration coming in now is actually prepared, not just based on, I always say it's easy to sign documents, it's easy to make what's this thing called, it's easy to come out and make promises and everything, manifestos, yes, easy, but then implementation, you've seen lots of memorandum of understanding that we never see the light. What is the assurance? Tinubu, okay,
Kashim Shettima. These are people that have done it. These are people. Tinubu took over Lagos when it was in a mess. It was a slum.
And Lagos was the former capital of Nigeria.
My brother,
the seat of power.
Have you been to
Oshodi?
Have you been to Oshodi?
But what has changed about Oshodi today? How about Jegunle?
Even from pictures, if you just look at Lagos, you'll be like, oh, really? This rubbish was encroaching. You see, I don't want to even start talking about that now, because this is somebody that has done. We're not telling you to go and verify. If you just open your phone, you see it. This is somebody that has done it. Kashim Shettima was a governor when Boko Haram was at their peak, and he came up with civilian GTF, which brought tremendous change to the whole Boko Haram in Pakistan. So these are people that have done it before, and then when they say they are doing it again, these are people that like challenge. As well as you tamed Atlantic Ocean. It was encroaching, but he now made it to be Eco-Atlantic now. So these are people that have done it before. So Nigerians, and that's why Nigerians voted for them actually, because they, like you said, if you feel APC failed and then they still voted as well as Polity and Cash, it's because of their personal track records. And there are people that voted for them not because of APC, but because they know that these people never break their promises, because these are people that know what they're doing, and then that's the beauty of now democracy. So we
saw a video in 2015 where your president-elect was saying they were going to give student loans. You just spoke about breaking promises. He said that 4 years was going to be 4 years, you get student loans, and it's 8 years now, no loan. Yeah, but strike for 8 months. Our schools are in shambles.
I think it was last 3 months or 4 that Femi Bajamila passed it. It was Femi that sent that bill.
But it was a promise in 2015.
Yeah, it's a process. This is what I'm telling you. It's a process. Someone will raise a bill. Legislative arm is different from executive arm. So the one with 2015 that we had issues with the likes of Bukola Saraki, the likes of Aminu Waziri Tambol then, where Yakubu Dogara, where they were oppositions rather. They were the ones controlling it. But from 2019 till now, that's why you just made mention of how many bills the president has assented to now. It's because
how many of them are actually functional? How many of them are Nigerians benefiting from? For instance, student loans. We've not seen nothing. Yeah, ASU were on strike for 8 months. Even your party didn't talk about it.
It was
even Bajabiya Mila you're talking about. It took him time. It was when Nigerians saw a video of him in a school in America and they started criticizing him that he said, okay, I'm going to be on the ASU issue. All I'm saying is your party made promises and then they didn't keep to it.
We kept some.
Which, we kept majority. Can you mention like 20 of those promises?
we kept majority.
Okay, away from that a bit, let's move to the Department of State Services has officially confirmed that a section of the political class is planning for an interim government to truncate the smooth transition of power on May 29 from President Muhammadu Buhari to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The DSS spokesman Peter Funaya, in a statement, said the agency has uncovered a plot by key political actors to install an interim government in the country. The DSS has warned the parties involved to desist from the plans as it would endanger the stability of the nation. And next, still on the interim government, in the same vein, the presidential campaign councils of the All Progressive Congress and People's Democratic Party have challenged the Department of State Services to get tough with the plotters of the interim national government. They spoke against the backdrop of a statement issued by a security agency that some people were plotting the interim national government. The DSS had earlier raised the alarm over a plot by some Nigerians to thwart the May 29 inauguration of the President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And now, still moving on, the Director General of the All Progressive Congress, Kailani Mohammed, has found that calls by some Nigerians clamoring for an interim government is against the incoming democratically elected government under President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He wants those criticizing the outcome of the 2023 general elections to desist from such acts, stating their action is capable of truncating Nigeria's nascent democracy. Dr. Kailani Mohammed disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja, saying that such calls are geared towards possible anarchy. He thereby called on all stakeholders in the nation's democratic journey to resist the move, adding that lovers of democracy in the country should oppose constitution of any interim government ahead of the May 29 presidential election. Let's take a look at that report too.
Presidential candidates Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his counterpart Mr. Peter Obi lost in the election. As a result, they have apparently approached the law courts for redress. This is their constitutional rights. Nobody can challenge this right. But what is in contention is the call by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the PDP candidate, is reported to have made a call for an interim government. This tantamounts to an attempt for a coup d'etat and should be seen and addressed as such. The call for an interim government in the face of an election that was conclusive and a winner declared cannot be said to be a call for national development. This call for an interim government at this time is a call for anarchy. We cannot understand or appreciate what the option of an interim government will yield the nation. There is nowhere in the world that the elections of the magnitude of a presidential election can be 100% flawed.
Well, welcome back, and now we still have in the studio with me Inzikak Fineface and Abdulaziz, of course, of the APC. And now to the interim government, what is your take on that? Because, of course, before this happened, the DSS, of course, picked one of the APC PCC member, that's FFK. He came out to say, oh, there were plans of an interim government, and the DSS came out to fault him. Of course, they picked him up and he made a public apology. And now this has come to stay now. Can you shed more light? Is it that the present administration cannot even do something as simple as deliver a state over to another elected candidate right now?
Okay, that's from the press release
yes.
by the DSS. It's concerns that they are raising, and because of the situation, lots of people have, starting from Dirty Baba Ahmed, he was on
inciting comments is different from saying you have plots.
He said,
if you are saying you have plots, that means you've erred. That means you have information at hand. And of course, you cannot come to the public with that information yet.
I'm trying to lay foundation to where I'm going.
Okay.
So he said democracy would end on 29th of May if Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in.
Okay.
And then after that, people started protesting. Some were at, I think, DHQ 3 days ago, saying the army should come and take over. And we've seen, what do you call them, on social media, where people post account details to work, should I say, for, but I don't want to call party because I don't want it to be like it's this certain party that is pushing it. But we've seen people that are pushing for people to donate money to save democracy cause, and we saw what happened during NSAS, how they destroyed Lagos. So these are things that, okay, at first DSS called it a bluff. Maybe when FFK, maybe they felt he was overdoing it, but now they realize that, okay, actually there are some elements that are working. So I think what they did is to let people know, so that when they start picking up people, it's not be as if they are just doing it randomly or they are trying to reach out anybody. So that's why the APC, PCC had to come out to tell them that please, they should just go ahead, go tough on any element, wherever this person is, be it in our party, be it in any other party, be it somewhere that is in Nigeria or outside the country. Let us just make sure we have a smooth transition. I think that's just it.
What's your take on that?
Well, for me, I think there are certain informations that there's something we call intelligence report. So if you get an intelligence report, you're not supposed to put it out there for the nation. That's why sometimes you see the FBI, they'll just appear somewhere and pick someone up, and you begin to wonder, how did they get this kind of... So I think the DSS, them coming out to put out that kind of information was actually totally unnecessary. If you feel there are certain Nigerians that are trying to truncate the process, certain Nigerians that are trying to hit up the polity, fine, investigate, arrest them. After arresting them, persecute, and then put it to Nigerians that, look, these were the people that were trying to say, okay, let's have an interim government. But bringing this kind of information at this time, you're just trying to stir up unrest in the nation, which is totally unnecessary. We are talking about the Department of State Service here. You're supposed to get a report, work on it, and then, you know, get the culprits. Then another thing is this. He spoke about people protesting after Dati Baba Ahmed's interview. That's not true. That's not true. Because now, from the moment the election results were announced and the president-elect was announced, certain people started protesting the next day in the FCT. I saw pictures, I saw videos and all that. So yes, I know we are supposed to be careful with our utterances because it could actually stir up issues in the nation. But the truth is this: if the DSS feels they know these people, like they said that they know them, go ahead and arrest them and let Nigerians know them. You can't be claiming you know. And that's one issue I have in our nation today. There was a time they said people were stealing oil, illegal refineries, and then certain people came out to say we know them. Till date, we've not seen them. There was a report from Dubai some time ago of people that sponsor terrorism in Nigeria, and they said we know them, the same APC, and then we didn't see nobody. So if you want to build trust in the minds of Nigerians, when certain people are found guilty, let Nigerians know. Like I said, if you feel people are trying to bring, and now the party in power is the APC. The party with the president-elect is the APC. The DSS is answerable to the APC. So how come a normal Nigerian would have the ability to impose an interim government on a government in power and a government that has the president-elect? It takes someone who knows the runnings and has his way into the corridors of power to be able to do such. A man can't just wake up and say, I want to install an... No, it's not possible. So there's a whole lot of... And these are the questions Nigerians are asking. How do you convince Nigeria that you are the party in power, the president-elect is of your party, and then someone, an outsider, is trying to come in and then impose... It's impossible. So the DSS, if you know these guys, bring their names out. Let Nigerians know them. Publish their names. Because we cannot tolerate people that are trying to truncate the peace of our nation. We are trying to make progress. Nigerians are tired of suffering. Nigerians are tired of a whole lot of things happening. So bringing up this kind of information now is just like you're trying to heat up the polity, which is already heated. Because some people are grieved, some people are angry, some people are frustrated. Nigerians, we just came out from the Naira issue, where you wake up every morning, you go to the bank, you see about 500 people at the gate of. That's frustrating. Some people we've lost lives, some people have lost their jobs, some people can't even cope in life anymore because of the cash issue. And then people are now trying to come out from that. You're bringing, so this kind of information could actually stir up fear in the minds of Nigerians. So I think the DSS, they have to be very careful. If you have their names, go and pick them up. Let Nigerians know these people, and then that's it. But when you come out with informations like we know them, but we are telling them to be careful, what exactly do you think will be running through the minds of Nigerians? So I think this is not the time for such information. If you have that kind of intelligence reports, walk underground, go behind the scene, arrest these people, persecute them, and then let Nigerians know, okay, this man was trying to truncate. In fact, try them. Let Nigerians see that, okay, you're transparent. But bringing up this now, you're just trying to stir up unnecessary issues, which is not necessary.
What's your own take on what he just said?
I have to agree with him, because that's, like I said, that's why even a spokesperson from the CCC came out and said, see, tell us who these people are. Go tough on them. Get them, whoever they are. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't make sense for you to see somebody's trying to set up interim government.
From where?
From where? So if you have if you have this information, and you know, please let us do fast and deal with these people, and let everyone know, so that we know that these are the people that are enemies of the nation. These are the people that are enemies of democracy. We don't want all this back and forth. Just get to work, and whoever the culprit is, let them be known, and then let them be shamed. Okay.
All right, I'll move on to the next story. Of course, we discussed this earlier, but then the National Coordinator of Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, has stated that the 2023 general election, since the return to democracy in 1999, can be described as the best Nigeria has ever witnessed. While following mixed reactions from the results declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the senator cautioned those calling for an interim government. During a media briefing with journalists in Abuja, Adeyeye stated that such move is geared towards possible anarchy, hence an appeal to Nigerians to disregard the plot for disunity in the country. As it refers to some prophecies by fake pastors, while commending the Independent National Electoral Commission, Senator Adeyeye blames electoral violence on politicians, saying all electoral offenders should be prosecuted by law. He also added that Nigerians have adopted some foreign country a habit of denying election results. Adeyeye therefore calls for national unity in all states to move the nation forward. Let's take a look at that report too.
I want to state categorically that this election has been the best in the history of Nigeria, at least since the return to democracy in 1999. This is the best election that Nigeria has ever witnessed. This election that was just concluded, and I stand to be challenged by anybody. I have been waiting for the past 3 weeks to see, or for the past 4 weeks, to see either the PDP or LP come out to say, this is our result. This is the result that was declared for us. They have never said that. And that is the proof of rigging. That's when you will tell me you are rigged out. Oh, from our platform, from the result that our agents, that we collected from our agents, we scored so number of votes. But this is the number of votes given to us by INEC. We have not seen it. Instead, they have been spreading hatred, trying to create anarchy.
Welcome back, and stay with me in the studio, of course, is my guest. And now we'll see shed more light on the interim government. Someone has come out, that's Senator Adeyeye, coming out to say, oh, it means anarchy for these people to come and say, oh, there is going to be an interim government and there should be a successful handing over. What do you have to say to Nigerians at this point? Because it looks like there's a lot going on the polity. Well,
elections, he said elections were free and fair.
Free and fair, yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's left for him and his conscience and Nigerians, but he's a member of the ruling party. Okay. So it's expected, just like my brother here also would argue with you, that it was free and fair. But then, we saw videos, we saw pictures, we saw things flying out and all that. So all I'm saying is Nigerians are aggrieved at this time. Certain people felt that their vote didn't count, and then they became frustrated because they had to trust the process because of the introduction of the beavers, where it was claimed that results were going to be transmitted in real time immediately. But then we've had a lot of issues with the beavers, back and forth, saying, oh, people attacked our platform and things like that. But at this time, I think all Nigerians are actually yearning for is meaningful development. What are the dividends of democracy? That's what Nigerians want. So Nigerians are not fighting anyone. Nigerians are not trying to stir up issues. They just want a country that actually works. Messi, if you check the percentage of Nigerians that have actually, let me use that word, jackpot from Nigeria in the last, between 2015 and now, you'll be amazed. So Nigerians simply want a nation that works, where I can be able to travel to Jigawa and get a job even when I'm from Bauchi, or where I can travel from Akwa Ibom to Lagos and I feel comfortable. That's exactly what we want, a nation where you don't have to struggle with power supply. Look at the nation today. We have power supply collapsing every month. It's worrisome. Look at our nation today. My brother here spoke about insecurity. Look at our educational sector. Look at healthcare. How many functional hospitals do we want? So Nigerians simply say, look, we came out to vote. And it's now looking like our votes didn't count. We just want a nation where our votes will count, where there will be development, and then because if we do not get our electoral process well, we won't be able to make progress. All
right, thank you for that, Mr. Insekak. Now over to you. You read what I said. What are you going to leave our viewers with? Okay,
you know, there's like what he said from 1999. There's never been an election whereby sitting governors, I think we have about 7 or so, that lost their bid to come for Senate. It has never happened, because once you are a governor in a state, you are Alpha and Omega. You do whatever you want to do. But we've seen cases in Abia, what do you call it? Enugu, Benue, Kebbi, Zamfara, you know, and what have you. So that's when you look at all these sides of the elections, you have to give kudos to INEC for doing that. The only place I fault INEC is the real-time transmission of results, which is the IREV, not the Beavers, because Beavers did very good at the accreditation, because that was why the numbers are quite low. But on the IREV side, they give their own reasons. I'm not an exposed person. They said they were attacked or what have you, but you give Nigerians that hope. So you should have ought to live up to expectation. But overall, it's a free and fair election.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abdulaziz, for joining us in the studio. We hope to see you once more again. Of course, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Insekak Fine Face. It was nice to have both of you in the studio today. And that is where we come to the end of the Polity's Week in Review today. And we would hope you guys will come on board with us next week. See you same time, same station next week. I remain Messi. Babajide. Bye.